Well, hello everybody and welcome to Papillon. This is the northern area of moon moth. I'm going to take you through a little area of forest that I was guided to on Wednesday night, and fell walker, you'd be quite impressed. It was about 7 o'clock at night, it was pitch black, there was a moon out, there were stars out, but I had a walk through here in the pitch black with a torch. I don't have infrared, so I can't really film it, but if you want me to do it again I'll bring some torches out, and that's the only way I can do it because my camera doesn't have infrared and I don't have an infrared light as such. So I'm going to take you through this area here, and we're basically at the moment we're going to go downhill towards that way. Now the last area where we did gifting is about 1.5 miles this way. The moon moth where we used to gift, that hill is about, say, 5 miles in this direction, around about 4.5 to 5 miles this direction, south of here. We're on the northern edge, that is heading west, and of course this will be the eastern edge. Okay, come with me and see what we find. So, as you can see, this area did not escape any of the devastation from the storm. Indeed, that's the table I have just used to prop this camera on to do the introduction. So, from here, we're facing due north. So as I turn the camera around, here, this is due west. This ground falls away from me here. It slopes downhill. If you hear knocks, it is the trees clashing together because there's quite a wind outside. Quite a wind blowing. So I've left my backpack and things down here. If you spot that, that's what it is. So what really made me stop in this place here was this. The number of sticks just pushed in the ground like that. And then we come to things that look like this. Now we have seen this before, seen all of this imagery before. So it's a form of a grid pattern there, maybe. It's not very high off the ground, you can see it there if I put my hand against it. So we've got like feathering here, an X laying on the ground. Then if I try and get through it, try not to step on anything. See this very distinctive grid pattern? Now I'm going to walk up through this gully here. It's like a, see, there's a gully. I'll walk up through here and we're going to look at it from the top looking down. We've already got some of these here. Why sticks just propped against a tree? Isn't that lovely? Isn't that wonderful? Friendship sticks. Now, we were standing just down there, this is what we see from the top. Try and hold the camera up. Right, so let's just check out the trees. That forms an X. Is that natural? So what we're looking at here is this big tree that comes up here, like that, and it's actually just propped up against the top of this tree. And then there's this one on the right here, you can see that, and that one comes up, forms an X in the middle. Was that natural, Dacia Gare? No, he says it had a little help. But look at these grid lines here. So I'll follow my way on. I have to find quite a route here. There is something that has caught my eye. Now, they don't strike me as having fell naturally. So it's quite difficult to negotiate through here without... It's very difficult to walk here at night because you get spiked by all these plants. Now look at this. That's very interesting. So we've got one stick going here, and we've got one going out here, one across, and a diagonal line. Then this. Bearing in mind, that was what we looked at just 2 seconds ago. This way I said, was that natural? And it happens to form an X here. So then we've got a connection here. I say a connection because there's a tree here leaning at an angle, propped up against another. So it might be better if I showed you it from this side here. So it's on an angle and it's propped up against another tree. Okay. Then there's this bit of groundwork leading from there, 2 parallel sticks, and there they join here with a leaner there. So now I'm going to come round this tree and I'm going to look at this. This is what drew my eye into here. So, Dacia Gare. Who did this? Who created this? It was Abaq. It's Abaq, sorry. So here you've got this coming up. See it? Goes up into a line, and it's just propped up against a tree. So then we'll come round to this side. See how this is connected here, leaning against two, so it's just like a gateway. To me that looks like a gateway. That's exactly what it is. That's just what I've heard. Is it a portal? It's an entrance to our home. There we go. And then you have these things which you would just ignore. We would just ignore these because we just think it's a collection of twigs. Carefully balanced, which I'm not going to touch. And they are standing against that tree. So there's something about the energy of these trees. It's our doorway, it's our front door. It's how we come in and come out. Is it like a portal? So what he's saying is, if they had visitors, it's where they would be expected to meet and greet their visitors. So if I just step back a little bit from there. Curiously, this is facing east-west. East straight ahead, west behind me. Let me just zoom in on that for you. Interesting. So, if you were coming through here at night time, this is what you're trying to avoid, are these spikes getting you in the eye, frankly. That's what they do. They get you in the eye. That shape is as tall as me, that upside down V, delta. Now Audrey and a lady called Dee are both pointing these deltoid shapes towards portals, and the family does agree. Dasygeia is saying they certainly are, my dear. We use them as looking in points. So this is coming back to something that I thought of a while back, where I felt like the trees were viewing points that they could view from wherever they were. Does that look like a big Y stick to you? It does to me. So this little area, the Forestry Commission, who own all of this crop, it is a crop, that's why it's planted so closely together, because being greedy, they want their value for money. Every available space is used. So they have clearly earmarked trees which are going to come down. And I think that the forest people are trying to correct the energy, maybe transmit the energy elsewhere. And I'll show you what I mean by that. See? Pink markers on here. This is Forestry Commission land. So they're obviously going to take these trees down. So either it's a healing energy, rebalancing. So Dasygeia is saying actually it's rebalancing. They're going to take parts of the forest away. They need to rebalance it. Now I actually keep an eye on things like this. Through here, see the way the sunlight keeps flashing on and off, like that. Nowhere else in the forest has that got that. So I'm going to have a look at that, because it's almost like shining a spotlight. It might be purely coincidental. But we'll head over there if I can clamber around that big tree. What do you think? What I'll do is I'll place this on here. This is a tree, fallen tree. And I'll work my way around the other side of this tree because it's huge and I can't climb it properly. Okay, I'm just going to go through this quick little piece of video, and it was about the way the sunlight was highlighting on these trees here. This is just me doing a walkthrough of this really. So this is one part where one clip at the bottom left here, and this is another clip, and we've joined the two together with a thing called a crossfade. So there's two clips, it's all from one video, and what I've done is cut it down the middle, put the crossfade across, and see what we see. And sometimes what happens is this piece here, the clip on the left, will remain static, and this clip on the right, what the crossover does is it brings it in over the top, and it helps us to see any imagery. Now the family move very, very fast between one dimension and the other. Sometimes we're able to pick up movement, sometimes we're able to pick up facial imagery. In this particular incident, what I'm looking at is this tree.
Now, it kept on flashing on and off, didn't it? The way the sunlight hit this, it wasn't hitting any other part of the forest. Normally you would just ignore it because sunlight does what sunlight does. But I would say to you, take as many screenshots as you like. I'll just run through the video part first and then we'll go to the screenshots. So that's your video clip. The top half is the video footage, the bottom half is audio, same on this. And they're joined together here, like I say, by the crossover. So let's go very slowly. I'm just going to drag the cursor right across very slow. And what we're going to do is keep an eye on this tree. And I want you to have a look at the detail on this tree. Take screenshots. And the piece of detail that I'm particularly interested in is that and that. I find those two fascinating. So let's just go slowly and we'll drag the cursor through. Look at the way the light changes and what it shows us. Also, look at this shadowing up here. Look at this. Are you able to pick this out? Here. Look at this. And then there are other visuals along the back. So let's just slowly go through it. Look at the way the sunlight, as it comes in and out, and what it's showing us on this tree. Look at the way the imagery changes. I'm gradually doing it very slowly. Very slowly. You're seeing the way the imagery changes. Take screenshots if you want to. As many screenshots as you wish. What's happening up here? Why is that highlighted? Sunlight gradually changing. See the way the imagery changes? And we're right on the border. So this is where the two clips join. See the way the light changes and what it shows you. It's 2 seconds. This whole piece is 2 seconds. Look at this. What do you see up here? What do you see there? What's happening there? As the light changes, the images on that tree change. Keep your eyes on it. What's this? What is that? And there we reach the end of that piece, that segment. Isn't that fascinating? Now, look at this. I am going to go and show you some of the screenshots. So these are the screenshots that I've taken. And interestingly enough, we're looking at this tree and we've never noticed that there's a little tiny Lena. Very small, but a little tiny Lena there and another one on there. But we won't go any further down that road. What I'm looking at is this. I pointed these out before. These eyes. There are what appears to be eyes. And if I zoom in on them, they've got liquid. They appear to have colour. There's another one there and another one there. Why are they here? Why is there eyes in there? So I firmly believe, there's another one here. There's a lesson in this. What they're showing us is something to do with the trees. Now, I have said for a long time, I believe trees are used as viewers. Imagine us sitting in front of our TV screen and watching TV, watching the Olympics live wherever, and people are jumping off ski slopes and things, and we can see that from where we are. In our comfortable homes, we can see that image. Well, what if these trees are your TV screen? What if these trees are like a satellite transmitter? It's just a thought. Weird and wonderful, but just a thought. So all sorts of visuals going on here. Keep an eye on them. So that's the first screenshot. Now we're going to see the way the light changes for each. This is our strip along here for each shot. So the light has changed. Those eyes are still there, but it's highlighting differently positioned. And there's some kind of shadowing along the side of this tree. I can't quite make out. You might make out another eye in there and another one in there. They're showing us eyes. The forest has eyes. And I believe they're not just belonging to the people, these are elemental as well. So I'll just go on to the next one. Again, the eyes remain. You can still see them. And this is what I've said about trees being viewers. I firmly believe they are viewers of a kind. The next one, you can see what imagery you pick out when you start looking closely into this area here. What do you see? That's ridiculous. That actually looks like a tiny bottle that's there. That's really weird. There isn't a tiny bottle there, but that's what it looks like. It's just weird. I'll move on to the next one and see how the light subtly changes. If I just toggle between the two, you'll see the light change. So it's as if the previous one highlighted this. This one does not. So I'm drawn to this area. What are we seeing up in there? Are we seeing facial areas here? Very, very faint. Are we picking out faces in here? Don't know. I just find it really strange. For some reason, we've been drawn to this. I just believe there's a reason for all of this. So I'll move on to the next one. And who's this here? Somebody showing our imagery behind this tree here. And it's always, for some reason, it's always just a head and shoulders. Right, as I've said that, I'll go back to that because what I'm hearing quite clearly is Davigeo. Is that correct? Davigeo. Right, so this is Abaq's brother, Davigeo. He's saying that. And who's this here? We've got some sort of facial. It's at an angle. Abaq Sally. They're saying Abaq. Yes, you can just start to see his beard here and the moustache. Let me move on to the next one. So this is them presenting themselves, and within this 2-second shot, and we've got all of these screenshots within that, the position changes all the time. Next one here, we're getting imagery coming up here. And again, we're getting blurring. Where there's blurring, this is a 4K camera. You don't get blurring with 4K cameras. So they're obviously showing us something. So if I am standing here, you can see where the viewpoint is. I am walking somewhere at this point off to the left of screen, and the camera is just taking these. I've just left it on this to take the video. But it's quite interesting what shows up. And what they've done is they're all having a look. But they're clearly showing us eyes. Everywhere within this, there are eyes. So for some reason, we must concentrate on eyes and see what they're trying to tell us. So now we're getting massive blurring. I always consider where there's blurring like that, that's energy. You might even be able to pick out animals as well, like a little dog. There's a dog there, little dog. That's frequent. Often I pick out badgers and owls. Sometimes you'll see owls. So there's something about, remember we've spoken about them having communication with animals and animals having some importance in this. Well, I think this is what they're showing us. It's not all about trees, forest, and there's so much more going on than we give credit for. And this is the last, I think this is the last image. So there we go. That's just a quick run through of everything, and you just saw and there's another face peering there. I'll just run through that so you start to see the colours on this side. I'll just go in reverse and I'll do it very quickly, and you'll see the colours flashing on and off as I change. I'll move my pointer over here. See how we start to get faces now? Go it this way. You can pick out all the faces. Is there a photograph appears to be upside down? I think it's this one. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's my imagination. So, see how you get faces changing? You can pick them out much easier when you do it fast like that. And still, above it all, remain these two eyes focusing on you. And there's eyes all over this. So feel free to go back over that bit and take as many screenshots as you like. And believe me, you are going to find so many eyes, you're going to think, what on earth? How on earth could you miss them? How on earth could you miss the ones up here? Zoom in on them, you can't see. Zoom out, and you'll be able to pick them out. So have a go at that and put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Okay. So the sun is directly behind me. Oh God, that sounded like a growl. Wow. Look how much these trees are swaying. I'm going to have to be careful. Some of them may have been weakened by the big storm. Look how much they're swaying. Actually, the ground. I'm trying to see which tree it is. It's this one. Anyways, distract me not. Just sounded weird. So we have some apricots. Some beautiful dates there, lovely dates. Some dates, some hazelnuts, some peanut butter. I'm not going to open it. They can do this. They know how to do this. So I'm going to leave this by the tree at the back. So we have here some Brazil nuts. In fact, I'll pop those on that side. Then I've got some apples, some pecans. So we've got Brazil nuts, pecans, hazelnuts, dates and apricots. So I'm going to leave those there and some more around the back. It's so windy here.
This is the trouble, it's so windy. It takes a long time to make them catch. So we'll just shove these around here. Plonk one in there. I believe the children love the smell of these. These are bergamot. See, my fantastic French pronunciation. It's amazing. So, there we go. Peanut butter, the nuts, and then the incense sticks. And just above that, we've got the apples. So it is on this little stump, raised stump. So the news that I've got for you today is some news I have been waiting for some time. The other morning I was heading off to had a client that I needed to go and visit, and I kept seeing in my mind the cradling of a baby's head. And I thought, I know what this is, So I stopped and asked. Now you remember that Hab and Seo were due to have a baby. They announced it last January. And I understand it takes about 13 months. Human beings would normally have 9 months gestation period, pregnancy, carrying. Well, here they have around about 13 months. And last Saturday morning, they made an announcement that they had Hab had a baby. Isn't that fantastic? And this is a very healthy, slightly whopping 28-pound baby boy. So both mother and baby are doing well. And if you remember me saying that Mercury was with them and she was getting her energy matched to theirs, well, Mercury assisted, and she did it all by herself. Now there were complications, they haven't explained that to me, but there were complications, and Mercury's mother, Fabaskwa, she came on hand and she stood by to see if she could assist if she was needed. Mercury managed all by herself, and pretty fantastic news. So I have mentioned this before about babies and names. So our friend Abaq, Dacia Gaya's nephew, if you like, Abaq's father was Edgar and mother Ahochida. So Abaq's grandfather, this is Edgar's father, Dacia Gaya's father, he was also called Abaq. So what I asked was, is there a precedence here? Is the eldest grandson of the one named Abaq, is he always called Abaq? And seemingly this is so. So our friend Abaq, Edgar's son, he is called Abaq after his grandfather. He was the eldest born. Now his son, Abaq's son, Seo, and Seo was the first person I met within this family through Sobey. So Seo, his eldest son, first son to be born, because he's got two girls already, Ahochida and Dagababa, So his first son to be born is going to be called Abaq. Isn't that wonderful? So he's a February baby and he is going to be called Abaq. So that's to Sio and Hab. We start to get into a bit of detail about the family history line. And that there is royal blood. They are of royal family within their circles. They are highborn. And Abaq is the family name within that highborn. So it's the family and descendants of Abaq, and they will always be the family and descendants of Abaq. Just want to show you this. It's a bit cool, isn't it? Shall we look at it from the other side? Now I know some people think all these tree structures might be boring. What's that got to do with Bigfoot? What's that got to do with the Janu people? That is the correct name for the family group. We are the human race, they are the Janu people. It has everything to do with them. It is so important to them. This is how they travel through portals. It's how they look from one point to another. And I've said this before, I believe that there is something about being able to view through trees, using trees like a viewer. Like we might use a periscope, we might use binoculars. I think the family do the same here. Not just this family, but all Janu peoples. It's always interesting just to check out the trees. It might just be a trait common to certain tree types, which I'm sure it is, but check out things like this. Twists. Twist in a tree. Okay, with my fantastic news that I brought to you, the family's had us all on a high this week with this. It's so splendid, it really is. And Mercury passed a hurdle which I believe was quite difficult, but she had the best of teachers in Ahochida. Ahochida really took her under her wing with this, and she will have learnt from her mother, from Papa Sakwa too. So this area is creating here, we're creating grid patterns here as well, aren't we? Look at these two, go across from here, and then we've got peculiar shape here in front of us. So congratulations Sio, congratulations Hab, congratulations Mercury for assisting in this birth, and congratulations Abaq, your first grandson. Now I have a feeling that Sio will assist Abaq, and Sio's son now will be a future leader, and I think that's how it works, but I'll try and get confirmation on that. Thank you folks, see you next week, bye.